Coming up on OTH, Raymond and I go over some of the changes slated for patch 11.5, like the new Serpent's Fang rework, the new MSI format, and of course we talk about week 4 of the LCS before previewing week 5. Lastly, we talk about TSM Reginald's Medium post and ask how important is ping really? We hope you enjoy episode 5 of On the Hunt. Welcome everybody to episode 5 of On the Hunt, a League of Legends podcast. I'm your co-host Chris, aka the fried chicken enthusiast, because I have tried almost every fried chicken sandwich from every fast food place that you can imagine. We're talking Popeyes to Chick-fil-A to KFC and even, oh dude, I shouldn't have named all those places because they don't pay us to say that.
Damn.
But anyways, joining me on every episode, is our other co-host, Raymond.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is me, Raymund 2, the one that shows up on the even-numbered episodes. Wait, this is the odd-numbered episode. Fuck. Okay. Let's keep going.
Yeah, maybe just scrap the whole episode, dude. But anyways, what's going on, man?
Not much, dude. I'm doing good. It's been a nice week since we've last chatted.
Yeah, I kind of like this. It's just like catching up with my buddy.
Yeah.
Cracking open a cold one.
Talking about the LCS, the premier entertainment esports league.
Hey, I seen you've been playing a lot of Legends of Runeterra. What's going on with that?
Yeah, dude, I don't know what happened, but at some point I was like, oh, no. So I think it's last week. I'll go. I've gotten a little into it, so I'll just go off a bit. I'm not any good. I'm still hard Iron 4 in that game. But last week they announced a new expansion or whatever, and they were showing off some cool cards, and I was like, oh, that's sick. I remember playing that game. So I started playing it some, and was just trying to eke out my rewards, build some neat decks. It's a good way to spend some time. I like playing it on my phone.
Oh, that's right. I've never played any of those games, like that one or Hearthstone. Just never did it.
Yeah, I think I got into Magic with a few of my friends, back in middle school or early high school. But not super hard. I've got a deck or two maybe, and then yeah, I never got into anything else until this one came out. I was just like, oh, League of Legends, that's cool.
Yeah, but would you bring it to the cafeteria?
No, I don't think I ever brought it. I definitely never brought Magic to school, and yeah, that was me. Maybe
that might have been for the best.
I think that might have happened with Pokemon cards back in the day. Maybe some Yu-Gi-Oh.
Okay.
I definitely played some Yu-Gi-Oh, but
that's what I like to hear, dude. Back in the day, it was okay, but
yeah,
and it's still okay now. Just so we're on the same page.
Just saying. I mean, yeah, it was okay then, but it's also still okay now. Yeah.
Okay. You been playing League though, dude? How your League games been going?
I've gotten a few good games in. Yeah, I've been mostly just playing Phil when we've got some time. So I've gotten some solid games in the top lane come in. I feel like I'm low-key good at top lane. That's what I've learned.
You think so?
Yeah, kind of. I watch top lane streamers, and so I feel like I kind of know how to play top lane just by osmosis.
Oh, okay. So even maybe a little too much of the boss.
Maybe a little too much of the boss. Yeah. Well, actually, I think I'm a devout Baus follower. I play Scion and I lose. I play Gragas and I win. So I think that's the way it's supposed to go.
I think that's the universe trying to tell you something, dude.
I also played a random Rengar top game this week because one of my friends told me to, and I went 11-1. So I might be maybe I'm just a Whippo guy.
Okay, yeah. Forget lane management, manipulating the minions.
Yeah, you just jump
kill people. That's my kind of style too, dude. I actually played a lot of games this week, and I'm pretty happy about that. First of all, I've been playing the hell out of Earth.
Hell yeah.
I feel like I'm the Earth prodigy, actually.
You need ranked Earth coming in?
No, because the matchmaking is so poor sometimes, dude. My win rate is 50-50, I'm pretty sure. Unless I play with my friends, then we just smurf the hell out of every queue.
Yeah.
But yeah, playing a lot of Earth, having a lot of fun with that.
Nice.
Spammed a bit of rank this week. I went on a 6-win streak.
Okay.
So that felt pretty good.
Okay.
Actually, something weird happened to me where I was promoted to Plat 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was Plat 2, 1 LP. But I think something happened where some part of the server didn't know that I was Plat 2. So I lost one game right after and I was demoted back to Plat 3 because I guess it didn't know that I was in a different division. And so it still considered me some part of like Plat 3 high 90 LP or something like that.
Huh.
Um
I know that they changed. I mean, like, there's no promotion series in between like threes and twos and fours and threes now this season, right?
right. I was going to get to that is I'm pretty sure there's still protection when you go through the divisions.
Oh, okay.
So because that had happened to me before when I had gone from gold to plat 4, I believe. I was winning at like or losing a lot at 0 LP and I wasn't going down right away. Maybe that's different because
Yeah,
that's
because it's like
tiers.
into the gold. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I don't know.
Um but yeah, so that felt pretty bad because I went up to plat 2 and then I lost 2 games
Yeah, but straight back
and
down.
I was like, "Wait, what?" Yeah. But then I won 2 games and then won another 2 games just today, just before this
Nice.
recording.
Damn,
So
okay.
I'm
Mental
getting
on the
up there,
grind.
dude. Yeah, I would say we're halfway there to the path to diamond to make sure I still got it.
Hell yeah.
But who knows, dude? Just don't nerf my champions and we'll be okay.
Don't say your champions out loud on this podcast because Mark Yetter might hear you and take you down.
Dude, that has happened to me one time where like I feel like it was when Jat moved to the champion balance team and the
Uh,
very first thing he did was he nerfed Lissandra and that was a target for sure at me. And I tweeted at him too. That's the one time, well, the first time I've ever tweeted at someone with malicious intent.
You're just that angry at Jat.
Yeah, dude. I was like, come on, man. I've been playing her since season 3. I'm actually a Lissandra fan, not just some like trend writer, but whatever. And as far as my games have been going, dude, I feel like there's so many things that I want to ban right now. I feel like Senna is really strong, and none of my teammates know how to play against it. So I feel like I gotta ban Senna. And then if I get into a lobby and my jungler does not hover anybody, then I want to ban Hecarim because that guy is pretty much new before the rework, where he just runs at people super fast and you just lose.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, he has like 3 tank items in Trinity Force. And then found out pretty recently that Jinx is pretty strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you.
And I've been seeing a lot of Cassidans in my game as well because I guess they just want to build Everfrost. I've only seen one Cassidan lose out of like 4 or 5 games, and the one game that he lost, of course it would be me when I try it,
Right, of
and
course.
my whole team just flops on itself. But it is what it is, dude.
Dude, I'm remembering a game that I played last week. I think it was actually after we recorded last week, and I hop on and I play Jinx, and I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. I'm getting the games in, and one of my buddies played Cassidin mid, and I think same thing. It's just the curse when it's on your team. But the enemy laner definitely was like way higher rated than him, but he played 80 Twisted Fate mid, and just like from level 1, just hard zoned him off the wave, and I think he was like like 50 CS down by like 7 minutes. I was getting, I like he got so fed that I was just getting ported on his Jinx, and he would one shot me in this gold card, and I was like, ah shit, this is a rough game.
Yeah, that's the worst, dude. When like an ADTF ports on you, gold cards you, and then gets in like 10 autos
Yeah.
during the stun, it feels so bad. Yeah, I've been playing against a lot of like range middles lately. Like I was playing Galio and somebody played Vayne against me. That felt
Ooh.
pretty bad, dude. And honestly, it's because that mid beast guy made a video about mid Vayne,
Yeah,
and so I'm pretty sure that's where my opponent got the inspiration from.
that's fair. I mean, that was I think didn't Caps pick that? I remember a lot of people playing that back when like Tank Galio was like the move when
Uh
not
huh.
like not even when you would build AP, but just when you'd go like just hard tank in the mid lane.
Yeah, so the matchup felt pretty poorly, but I'm pretty sure that was like that guy's first time trying it. So I won that game, thankfully.
There you go.
That guy was terrible with cleanse. Thank God.
Dude, actually, that reminded me of I played a mid game this past week where for whatever reason, I just picked Kiana, and I think it was for fun. This enemy picked Graves mid, which is one of those like LS disciple champs, and like I've played Graves mid before. I know some guys who play Graves mid, and it's like it's a decent champ, but this guy was just like he was like one of those guys who's hard stuck D4 because he just has zero brains about the game at all, and he figured out how to use his hands like to play some characters, and he was just all inning me like crazy, and like killing himself trying to tower dive and doing stupid shit like that, and I was getting ganks off on him, and I popped off on Kiana where I just like didn't get to farm in lane because I was against the Graves.
Yeah, I kind of hate players like that. Honestly, like it's kind of fun playing at like the elo that I'm at right now because I feel confident that no one is like super 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 good.
Yeah.
So I just like in a way I feel like every game is winnable because of that.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good feeling. You know, you're like even if you kind of start losing, you're falling behind, and you're like, no, they're gonna do some bonehead shit, and we're gonna
Yeah,
get
exactly.
get a pentakill off it, take a dragon, take a baron. It's winnable. It's definitely winnable.
Uh-huh. Like I remember like once upon a time there was a time where I was worried when somebody would pick Yasuo because I'm like, damn dude, that guy's gonna go crazy. Only like Yasuo players pick Yasuo, you know?
Yeah.
But like lately, and when somebody picks Yone or Yasuo, I get so happy because I know like that guy at some point is gonna mess up.
Yeah.
And when I'm just gonna play Galio against it, and it's gonna be too hard for me to mess up against him. So I get pretty happy about that. Okay, and then coming up this week should be the next patch 11.5. Just like last time, we've got a little preview provided by Mark Yetter on Twitter, where he gave us a little preview of some things to come in patch 11.5. Was there anything in there that stood out to you?
Let's just go down a little bit. Like first thing that I saw in this is they're changing Serpent's Fang so that it's not going to do the bonus damage against shields, but it looks like it's going to have kind of a grievous wounds effects, but for shields. So it says it's going to make it so when you deal damage, it'll reduce incoming shields by 50 or 25% for 3 seconds. So it sounds kind of weird to me, but I don't know. Interesting. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's interesting too. I feel like this is something that people have asked for a really long time. Like some sort of like some grievous runes of type of effect for shields, or even for grievous wounds to apply on shields as well. But that might have been too strong. For like I guess Ardent Sensor meta or something like that is when people were asking for this.
Yeah.
But I think well the way that Serpent's Fang is now, I think it's pretty cool. It's just like you deal damage to people with shields, but then like it's weird in a way because you have to. It only works when somebody has a shield, whereas with the proposed change where it applies a debuff for 3 seconds, that's grievous wounds esque.
Yeah.
I think I like that better. Just reducing the amount of shielding that occurs. And it looks like there's gonna be a bonus for melee champions, with less reduction for ranged champions, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. They're definitely kind of trying to tune it as like a melee assassin item, like for talons and stuff like that, rather than just ADCs versus ADCs stopping the enemy Janna from shielding each other.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna want to build it as an ADC because the build path is so weird. I think it's like Dirk and Pickaxe or something like
Hmm.
that. But I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think what I remember thinking about this item when it came out, and I think I've only successfully built it like once. And I'm remembering the game where it was like I played Samira, and it was against like a Karma and a Seraphine maybe or something like that, maybe Karma Lux, and I was thinking like, oh, they have a bunch of shields. I do AoE damage, and I think that's the only time that I've ever built that item where I've dealt like more than 1k damage with it, and I dealt like 3k damage with it because I think the way that the item works and the way I always felt like the fantasy for it was is that if you apply a bunch of low damage procs, right, like a bunch of like quick ticks of physical damage, it's gonna hit the Shield Reaver passive like right away, like on each of them. And so like I was thinking with Samira ulti, if they're ever shielded, you're gonna hit them with like 2 or 3 Serpent's Fang hits right away, and then the shield is gonna break, and then your ulti is gonna deal full damage like after having team wide broken a shield. And like that sounds really
Right.
cool to me. So then like obviously it's not always that useful. You play guys that do higher damage procs, and they're only going to be able to hit it once, like on one guy. Um,
Uh-huh.
so I guess that this like Grievous Wounds esque approach is like more consistent, but not as like fun in my head.
Yeah, I guess also the way that it is now, that does leave room for like abuse, the way that you said it, because now I'm just thinking that like the way that it is now, an MFE would just destroy somebody's shield or something like that
Right.
away.
Yeah.
Whereas with this new version, it might not do that.
Yeah.
It'll just like cut it in half or something like that. So I think this implementation is going to be a lot healthier just by like design. Whether or not it's going to be good or worth building, I'm not too sure yet.
Yeah. Jerry's definitely still out.
Anything else catch your eye in this 11.5 patch preview? Maybe some of the champion nerfs, buffs, items. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give a quick shout out to Shaco players out there. I've got a buddy who plays Shaco a lot, and he plays like AP Shaco exclusively. And they're changing him this patch. They're trying to reduce the power of Shaco support, but in doing that, they're buffing the box damage to monsters. So Shakos are actually going to be able to clear Raptors now, is what it sounds like. What I've read from reliable Shako sources on the Twitter.com. So that's a shout out, quick one there. Does it matter in the grand scheme of things? No, Shako still fucking sucks, but that's my shout out.
Okay, for sure, dude. I think there is a couple of things that like I kind of just want to point out.
Yeah, go for it.
First one is I think looks like they're gonna reduce the cost of Mob Mortius by 300 gold. I think that could be impactful for like late game. I'm pretty sure that item is pretty good, but I never get to a point in the game to build it most of the time.
Yeah.
But I think that if you are going Hex Drinker kind of route that game, then you may finishing that item out second or third if the game can call for it. I'm thinking more as a top laner, not so much ADC.
Yeah, I feel you there.
I think that it could be really good with the reduced cost. But although I guess that is cool because I think the shield is stronger than Steric's Gauge now that Steric's got a nerf, and you can't have both of them at the same time. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, reduced cost on that should be nice. Another one I saw was they're gonna be nerfing the cooldown on Seraphine's R by 20 seconds. I think that's deserved.
Yeah.
And then just one more thing I want to shout out is they're doing Karma another buff. Just a little buff on her Q cooldown. It's not much, but she's been getting a couple buffs lately, and it's little things like this that just add up over time, and then next thing you know, there's a Karma in every game.
True. At least they don't have Iceborne Gauntlet. We can't see disgusting tank karmas ruining games now.
Yeah, I've always been like worried about that, like just the Karmas who just sit there and lane and ult W forever.
Yeah. With presence of mind, think about it actually. The tech, you could just live forever. Always having the in combat mana regen. I think, all right, hold on. I'm writing this down.
Dude. Yeah, what that sounds like? That sounds like those people who like, they take an extension cord and they plug the extension cord into itself, and they're like infinite energy, dude.
It's unstoppable.
Yeah, maybe it's something like that.
All right, and then I think the last thing that I see on here that we definitely just have to shout out. This is like I think probably one of the bigger or biggest changes of the patch is they're changing Senna's passive to no longer give you more than 100% crit chance, and they're nerfing Guinsoo's so that it caps at 100% crit chance for the damage conversion, and they're also nerfing Guinsoo's so that the on hit scales with the champion's crit damage modifier. So they're really trying to kill like the DPS out of Senna's like Kraken Slayer Rageblade build, which I think is good in my opinion.
Oh, that's interesting. So I guess in a way then Ginsu's is weaker on people like Kalista and maybe Ashe. I don't know if that applies. Like that's gonna affect other champions too.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think I think the only other people that I think off the bat that have like crit damage reduction is like
Graves has it.
Okay,
Not that
Graves.
that matters.
Yeah, Graves says he would never build it. Yasuo, Yone, but they kind of already mess with the scaling for them. And then Jin is the other one, but he would never build this. But yeah, I'm not sure how it works with Ashe. I know that they kind of toned it down from when people were going Rage Knife and like 6 crit cloaks at the beginning of the season. And I don't know that it would. I don't know how it would work with Kalista because I think her damage is just her like her attack damage.
Oh, her actual
not her
auto
crit
attack.
damage. Yeah, so her crit damage might stay the same. So maybe that's a decent buy for her. But it's still, yeah, I don't know. Kalista. We can talk about Kalista a little bit in a sec, but I'm not sure that she's that familiar in the meta at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, let's just get right into that now. Have you played Kalista lately?
I haven't played Kalista in a little while. No, I honestly I get shit from my friends all the time because I've for years Kalista is one of those champs that like I actually Kalista is so much fun to play when she's like at least slightly above absolute dog shit in my opinion. Like that, it's just such a good feeling champ when you can pop off with her, and I like playing lane with her too. But yeah, I don't think I've played her like this season even.
Oh wow. Okay. I actually feel the same way. Like I've been in love with Callista ever since Sneaky showed us how to use Hurricane with her way back then. Yeah, I've always it always feels good to like win lane with her too when you just do like the cool minion resets to get a double rend or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So yeah, I've always liked Callista. I think I might have played her. Her itemization is kind of okay this season when you get to go like blood. What is it called?
Shield bow?
Immortal Shield Bow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Shield Bow, and then another lifesteal item. So you could still do a lot of like lifesteal stacking. I'm not sure if Callista is one of those champions where you can just skip a mythic item and just go straight like Blade Hurricane or something like that. I would have to try
Yeah,
it more.
maybe. Yeah, I've definitely not put in the hours to Kalista at all. So.
Uh, the reason why I wanted to bring it up is because I was watching the Double Lift Sneaky co-stream on Friday, and they just randomly started talking about playing Kalista and Neeko because I guess there's like a fun interaction where if you Kalista ulti during Neeko's ulti animation after she leaves the Kalista bind to like knock somebody up,
Yeah.
then her ulti animation will finish and stun somebody. So you get like the knock up and a stun, which I guess is overlapping, but I guess it just looks really cool, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is funny because I remember, like, I've seen that I think the LCK has played that lane a few times, probably the LPL because that sounds like an LPL as hell lane. But I definitely remember seeing a couple of people in LCK play it, I think. Um, and so I kind of knew about the combo and like it made sense to me when it was just, in my head, like, oh yeah, you can close to R in and then the Neeko can E and R and it's like all guaranteed kind of. But that combination sounded really wild that you could ulti first, like as the Neeko.
Yeah, I think the way that you describe it is a lot better.
Yeah.
Like, to like properly chain the CCs.
Uh-huh.
Honestly, dude, I'll tell you what. If you tell me you're really a Kalista player, I'll tell you that I'm a Neeko player. So hit me up, dude, if you're feeling a little adventurous.
All right. We can see. We can see what's in store. I actually, Neeko is one of those champs that I actually have kind of not this season either, but like that champ's kind of a fun one to dabble with sometimes.
Oh, I really like her. I just have one problem with her. When I played her in ranked, at like the end of January, I got a couple games in with her, and I really like her itemization this season to go like Rocket Bell, and you're just really speedy during the cast time of your ulti. I hate it when I like tunnel vision in a game to try to hit an ulti, and then the person I'm going after, they have flash.
Oh yeah,
it ruins your champion, honestly, because now you're just in a really bad position,
right?
And that happened to me like way too many times, and I just realized that like I really like the champion. I think she does really good in lane, and I don't think that a lot of people know Neeko matchups as well.
Yeah.
So I think she's worth playing, but there's gonna be moments in a game where like maybe I'm up on gold over the other mid laner, and like my influence on this game can really impact how it's gonna go. But then like all it takes is one fight where I try to ulti somebody else, and that person has flash, and the whole game can be ruined off that.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I actually remember, I think it was last season, probably the season before, when we started seeing more like mage champs coming to bot lane, and Neeko was one that I would play a lot, like with Glacial Augment and stuff. And it was probably later on when people started building GLP more often. Those are good. That was a good time playing Glacial GLP Neeko.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, I actually really like playing on hit Neeko, like AD.
Dude, I still remember when that shit first came out, and I remember you. I don't know if that was the season that where we were still playing in college or like right after or what. And I just remember you being like, dude, I just played against an on hit Neeko top. I don't know what the fuck they were doing, but they bopped the shit out of my team, like something along those lines. I still like randomly remember that conversation.
That's pretty funny. The thing is, I remember that game as well, and I was, and yeah, she destroyed me.
Yeah.
The problem is, on top of me not knowing like what that champion did, I also thought she was supposed to build AP, but that Neeko went on hit that game and
Yeah.
absolutely ran me over.
Well, I think until literally that patch, like maybe that weekend. I don't remember when I first saw it, but I think you mentioned that, and it was maybe like I had seen one, streamer or something run into it too, and then I think I remember like Wonder was running that in LEC, and just like rolling kids with it too there, like just giga stomping lane in game with it, and there was something was like super overtuned with like her W passive damage at that point or something. It was I remember it
I
being
think that is
broken.
what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, that yeah, and then I think someone else started taking it bottom lane as well. I want to say Perks was the first person to do it. Maybe not the first person to do it, but he was like a pretty big advocate of it at least. Maybe
Maybe.
I'm wrong on that though.
I think maybe
Maybe
that was before Perks was bottom. So I'm trying to
yeah,
think.
because when I think about it, I'm not sure if he was playing bottom at that time
Yeah.
or if it was just something that like he liked to do on his off role or
Yeah.
something like that.
That was what had turned him into like he's like, "Ooh, I can play bottom. We can steal caps and then beat the whole world."
Yeah, I'm sure that's how that conversation went. And then another thing that Double Lift and Sneaky were talking about on stream is how good Jinx is right now, dude.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I don't. I mean, I'm not gonna brag here or anything, but I'm just saying that was my pick of the week last week. Just saying. Just saying. But yeah, no, I think she is really good. I've been having fun with her in the few games that I've played her. Jinx is one of those champs I remember playing like back when I started playing League, and she came out. I was like, oh, two guns, that's sick. And now they have a Felios and whatever. But yeah, she's fun.
Yeah, I definitely liked her too. I used to play her. I mean, I used to play her a lot back in like 2013, 2014 when I think Lucian had just come out, and then every bot lane felt like it was Jinx versus Lucian.
Yeah.
And actually, that's like one of my favorite things about if I ever start a season off being placed in gold. I kind of love it because every time somebody plays Jinx in gold, I swear that Jinx pops off like really hard, and nobody can stop her. Like it's inevitable,
Yeah,
honestly.
I think you're
But it's
actually
pretty funny.
right on top. I think Jinx is one of those pub stomp low elo champs that just will always pub stomp low elo.
But yeah, so they had talked about a couple of things on stream. First thing they talked about was her Baron stealing power with the way that her ulti works. Apparently, that if you ult and you hit somebody standing next to Baron, after a certain threshold, then it will do 2,300 damage to Baron because it has missing HP damage on her ulti. So that makes it pretty strong for objective stealing.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of those where I always knew about that. I mean, like I feel like um you know, Wild Turtle, like back when he first joined TSM, right? That was like his whole thing. That he would steal every single objective with Jinx ulti. Um, and I've always known that you can do that, and I mean I do it, but I've never really. When Siki said that number, I was like, holy shit! It actually does that much damage. Holy shit!
Yeah, I'm kind of impressed when he knew the number because I would just think that like, oh, it just maybe all I have to know is that it does more than Smite or something like
Yeah,
that. But
right.
like to know the number is actually like really cool.
Yeah, here actually, I pulled up the wiki just so we now can be fully educated. The secondary damage, so like because you can't hit Baron itself, right? It has to hit a target like a champion. So if you're level 16, you'll do 360 damage plus 120% bonus AD, and then plus 28% of the target's missing health. So when you get to where like Baron, even like when Baron spawns and it has like 10,000 health, then when it's down to 2,000, 3,000 HP and you're missing 6 or 7 or 8,000 HP, you're already going to be hitting for yeah like 1.5 2K at least.
Yeah, I guess I never thought about that for some reason, but it's pretty interesting that if there's a Jinx in the game, then you just have to be careful about that.
Yeah. Now we can be the educated ones that go into if any Jinx ever steals the Baron or Dragon off of your team, you can blame your teammates for not standing in the way because you knew
Yeah, I know, right?
we had the
Or
foresight.
standing out of the way. Who
Yeah,
knows?
true.
Another thing they talked about is building rapid fire on her or versus Hurricane. I'm personally a fan of Hurricane. I feel like once you put that item, you feel pretty unstoppable at that point. If there's like even two melee champions on the other team.
Yeah, I agree. That's one of those item purchases that just super feels good. Just to finally have a hurricane and you can like one shot waves. You get the perfect team fights that happen, and you just do a ton of damage. You one shot people, reset, and all that. Definitely a fun item.
Yeah, and then I think just this whole season as a whole, I haven't really liked building rapid fire cannon. I understand like the merits of it, and I used to love building it in the past, but just to even get one auto off every once in a while, sometime in the mid game, it feels
Yeah,
really good. But I haven't really liked it much this season.
yeah. I remember. I think it was week 1 or 2, or maybe it was during lock-in. I remember watching the Sneaky and Meteos co-stream, and I think that was somewhere along those lines. Those guys just have a super hard on for rapid fire cannon, and I think it's not it's not without merit. Kind of when you listen to these guys talk about it, Doublelift and Sneaky when they were on their co-stream, um, Doublelift talked a lot about like you can go back and look at games where you build Hurricane, and really a lot of the time, unless like you said, you have a lot of melees that are diving at once, you're not getting a value like out of the rocket procs or hurricane procs in a team fight. Like you're only hitting one guy who's way out in front, and it's so you don't even hit multiple damage splashes on him. Um,
Right.
and then rapid fire, like you always know when that's gonna happen. Like you don't waste rapid fire basically ever.
Yeah, that's true. I kind of agree with that as well. I was actually surprised to hear that that Sneaky doesn't like Phantom Dancer either, or that I think he said he tried it and it hasn't turned out for him very well.
Yeah, it's that one's interesting too. I don't know. Phantom Dancer seems like kind of a niche item right now. I don't know. It seems like a niche item all season, honestly. So I don't know. I kind of see where he's coming from, but I haven't tried it up either to know a good balance between them.
Yeah, I haven't spammed that many ADC games myself. Alright then let's move on to our picks of the week. For me, my pick of the week is going to be Everfrost. Thanks to the patch 11.4 buff where they reduced the cast time. The item feels really smooth and really good to play with right now. I have tried it on Kassadin myself, and I've seen a few Kassadins pop off with it. I feel like he would have popped off anyways, even without the item, but the item is really cool. I really like the range on the item because it can kind of catch people off guard with how far
Yeah.
it goes. And I like the damage that it can bring to your rotation. I like the cooldown on it. I feel like the cooldown is really fast. It should be more like Rocket Belt, where I think Rocket Belt is like 40 seconds, maybe more,
Oh, is
but
Everfrost not
Everfrost
that?
is 20 seconds.
Oh, wow.
It's like super quick. It's like Gore Drinker Stridebreaker quick.
Yeah, wow.
This so you could use it to clear every wave and you wouldn't even feel bad about it, and maybe even more with like Ingenious Hunter and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I've liked Everfrost too a little bit. I think I played maybe one game with it, with Gragas top with it. And I think I played a Bard game in Earth with it, and that was also a banger. But but yeah, I think you're right about the wave clear thing is actually really nice. Like that was one of the things I used to really like about Proto Belt. And then when they nerfed that this season, I kind of missed it out on using that item. But Everfrost you definitely can use like as secondary wave clear, to back up like one of your abilities that might get it halfway or get it low or something.
Yeah, and I like the build path out of it because it's all pretty cheap items. You just need like Lost Chapter, Kindle Gem, Blasting Wand. Like most of those are pretty cheap, so I like items with cheap components and cheap combined cost. And then I had one more point to say. Oh, I've just been trying it on a couple of the champions that I play. So I tried it on Kassadin. I tried it on Galio. I think I lost that game though, so I'll never do that again. I tried it on Lysandra. That one is okay, but she already has like so many CC tools. But that one is actually kind of important because her Q damage is kind of wonky, and so having another reliable, like, kind of wave clear spells, but so to speak, it kind of helps you push waves and not blow too much mana using it. So that's why I really like it so far, even though something else might be better. But out of the lost chapter items for some champions, because I think some champions you're gonna wanna build a mana item, so like one of the lost chapter mythics. And so I think Everfrost is worth trying on some more champions. I think maybe not like Orianna or Syndra the way that GLP was, but I think there could be more champions out there that Everfrost is worth trying.
Yeah, I think personally, I'm definitely gonna have to try some Bard support games where I just try and build full AP with Everfrost, because that item is fun. I like it when you can combo it with CC too.
Yeah, it's really fun. So yeah, that's gonna be my pick of the week, bro. You got one for this week?
All right, I've got a pick of the week, and I've been kind of playing Phil and not played more than 2 games on like any champion really. So I'll throw a kind of wacky one out there. I'm just gonna say I mentioned it earlier, and I'm gonna say Kiana, because I played that champ, and it was really like, I honestly, that champ is one of those where I feel like I can watch pros play it, or like anybody who's actually good at the champ. Um, and it looks so much fun when you actually can bounce around and hit fat ulties and go invisible and everything. Um, and so I played it. I had one game this week that went pretty well with it, and I haven't tried anymore, so I've been riding that high. So your results may vary, but it's a very fun champ to try and play around with. You go back to the old roam heavy mid lane style. You definitely don't get to farm in lane against anybody else who has like remotely any laning power. But maybe that's just me not knowing how to use abilities. But it's a fun champ.
Yeah, I can agree, dude. Actually, I don't have many Kiana games throughout my career. I played her less than 5 times, I'll admit.
Okay.
I tried to play her jungle when that was like a really big thing, and
Mm-hmm.
like the problem is that when I tried it, I forgot that you can jump through walls with a W, and that's probably like a really big part of playing her jungle. And so that game went terribly, of course. But yeah, because I haven't put so much games on her, like when I do play her, I feel like it's tough for me to wrap my head around the things that she can do.
Yeah.
Because you can tell me that, like, okay, just grab the water, enhance, and then that's a guaranteed snare.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's cool, but then there's gonna be a lot of times where like you need to grab the grass one to go invis.
Yeah.
And that's not something I can wrap my head around, like how frequently you need to do that, or when you need to do that in a skirmish, and how long should you sit in the invis for. And then I would just need more practice hitting her ultis as well, knowing how, because I feel like in my experience the pushback on her ulti is like bonkers, like as far as Poppy E would push you
Yeah, I definitely
into a wall at least.
I think your ulti, I think, is one of the funniest things. When you first start playing Kiana, you definitely have like at least 5 ultis where you try and hit them, and you push them, and you don't like push them into a wall or anything. It's like in the middle of mid lane, and you think, oh, I can hit the little wall on the side there, and you push them towards it, and you like miss, or it's just not as far, and then it doesn't even hit the wall to do the damage, and you're just like, wow, that was a waste. I wasted all my cooldowns. All right, I'm dead.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I feel about Kiana. But the thing is, I don't play many assassins, which is kind of sad. But that is one that like I wish I could play that one.
Dude, did you ever? Okay, this is similar, because just because Kiana's one of those champs where you used to be able to just like rush Mobies, right, and you ignore the lane and completely. Um, and I think that's the play style that I really vibe with. And I remember also playing Elise jungle when like that was the strat with Elise jungle. Those are so much fun to play games like that where you pop off and it's just Moby Boots rush, and you go like jungle to like gank to gank to gank, and then you do maybe some jungle too. That like, damn, that's my high in League of Legends when you get games like that.
Yeah, I feel like that does sound like a lot of fun. And then like just have somebody cover your mid lane really quick while you just run around the map. That's a pretty good pick, my man.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, now let's go right into the world of esports. First of all, we got some good news this morning where Riot Games announced MSI 2021, that it's going to be a live in-person event with no audience. And it's going to take place in Iceland from May 6th, which is a Thursday, from May 6th to May 23rd. And then they also are going to change the format a bit. First of all, there's not going to be any play-ins, so it's just all 12 teams that qualify for MSI, one from each of the regions, I suppose. They just go straight into the group stage, where there's going to be 3 groups of 4, and it's going to be a best of 1 double round robin. So that means that every team is going to play every other team at least twice in their group, and then the top 2 from each group go on to the second stage called the Rumble stage. So two teams from each of the 3 groups is going to be 6 teams, and then the top 4 of those 6 teams, they play, well, I meant to say that they play another best of 1 double round robin. So those 6 teams play each of the other 5 teams twice, and the top 4 of those teams will go on to the semifinals, and then obviously the finals after that, where the semis and onward will be best of 5. So that's the new MSI 2021 format. Are you hype about having another LAN event in the post-coronavirus era?
Yeah, dude. Thank God they figured out how to make this happen. It was so sad to not have MSI last year, I feel like, and not see, our pride and joy 17-1 C9 go and crash and burn at that event. But now we get to see it this year, so I'm down. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. The one thing though, I would say that I'm actually the most excited about is that Greenland's time zone compared to ours is not garbage.
Oh, true.
I think
Actually,
they're only like they're like, it's like a European time zone, so they're 8 hours ahead of PST, which is not that bad. So that would probably mean that like games start in our time zone like 5 or 6 a.m.
uh-huh.
I like that. I like that better instead of games starting at 1 or 2 a.m.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Yeah, or the thing is that like you could wake up at like 8 or 9 a.m.
Right,
and there would be a game going on. Maybe it's not the game you want, but
but there's a game.
but there's a game going on, and maybe 2 or 3 more after that as well. So I think I'm gonna like this time zone as well. The thing is that like when there have been tournaments where it's outside of our time zone or the opposite of our time zone, usually the Asian ones like
Yeah.
China or Korea. Not only did I not watch those events live, but then I end up not watching a lot of the games because of that.
Yeah, I feel like
Even the big ticket games, like let's say for example from last Worlds when it was like a Korean team versus a Chinese team in the group stage, I didn't watch that match no matter how hype it is. If it was like, let's say top versus the second seed of Korea or something like that.
yeah,
Like I'm sure it was a good game, or I'm sure it was a hype game going into it, but I didn't watch it, dude. And like I didn't care. And the thing is that like we'll talk more about this later, but that's I kind of when I thought about that like what did I really watch from last Worlds? And the games that I like truly wanted to see from Worlds last year at that wonky time zone is like is the NA teams. Like
Yeah.
I watched all of the NA teams games, but like if it's not in my time zone, then like I'm not that crazy of a league fan to want to watch all the games, I guess. Just the teams that I care about the most.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one. I remember staying up because I wasn't Fnatic TSM like the first Worlds game this last year. I think that was like the first groups
Yeah,
game. I
one of the
remember.
two. I think
I
I
remember.
stayed up for that one too.
Yeah, I remember staying up for that one, and then they got like insta fucked by Self-Made Evelyn, and I was like, okay, yeah, cool. Glad I did this, and then the rest of the tournament was just a wash.
Yeah, it might have been that or maybe a TL game, something like that.
Yeah.
But I remember like watching one of the first few games from the group stage as well and staying up for that one.
You know what I do remember staying up for that was hype and that was at a like even worse time was when C9 beat Afrika in the best of 5 in quarterfinals like 2 years ago or in 2018 or whatever. That was hype. I remember staying up for that and being pumped.
Oh, dude, I would die if I stayed up for a best of series. There's there's so much wait time in between the games.
I think
I couldn't handle it.
yeah, I think I legit like I think I had some boys on mic that that were like super degen boys that would stay up late that late anyway. So we were like playing games before then, and then I was just like, "Hey, you guys watching this C9 game? I'm gonna stay up for it." And then I had somebody to ride it out with at least, so it wasn't ever it wasn't the worst. It wasn't the worst.
Hell yeah, dude! Shout out to the DGen boys and DGen girls. You know who you are.
What do you think about this format, though? I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it sounds pretty hype. I like the double round robin out of like the 2 double round robins, so that we get to see a lot of the teams like play each other. I feel like that's always sad when it's like if it's an MSI or any international tournament, and it's like you if you go out in groups and you only played your teams, or like those 3 teams in groups, and you're like, damn, like I didn't even get to see other teams. You just lose.
Yeah, I really like that you get to mix and match the different groups at the second stage, because like yeah, I mean, it's the way you said it. Maybe a team doesn't get to play that the other, maybe, okay, sorry. Maybe that one team is just never going to play another team, at least on stage, because of the way that the groups drawed out and then the way that the bracket was drawn.
Yeah.
I think it's weird. Well, it's not weird, but I guess it's kind of cool that they're replacing quarterfinals or the top 8 essentially with this like top 6 kind of format.
Mm-hmm.
That's another round robin, and I guess I really do like that, because in the end, like, I just want to watch my favorite teams play, and they get to play each team twice. So that means that like the top 2 from each group, from each of the first groups, they move on, and then they play the other 5 teams twice. So that's your favorite team is gonna play another 10 games if they get out of the first group.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I do really like that, and especially I think it's a good trend. Since NA is trending down from our major region status as we get worse and worse every year, it's a good trend that they're including like all the professional regions, as like this one big category for the group stage, so that, in the future, when we're just like another one of the wild cards, we still get to go against, the G2s and the FPXs and the Damwons of the world, and like they can still show like why we got kicked out of the major region status in the first place.
Yeah, it's all about inclusiveness, dude, in the new world. So you can't. We paid money to sit at the table. You gotta let us play.
Yeah. That's what esports is all about, dude. We're a global thing. Nobody's different. All right.
Okay.
We all good?
Yeah, I'm all done with that. I'm just hyped, excited to look forward to it. I guess it's kind of crazy when I said that out loud, that there's gonna be 6 teams in the second stage that play 10 games each.
Yeah.
Is that over 50 games that takes part in just the second stage of the tournament? So I'm thinking that, like, even though it's going to be May 6th to May 23rd, so that's 17 days, 17 days. That's a brutal schedule to like play over. If you go all the way to the finals, you're going to play over 50.
No, not you.
Not you. Sorry. You're going to play, you are going to play over 12 games minimum.
Yeah.
Just to get to the semifinals, and then however in the best of 5. So you could play up to like 20 games in that tournament.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, because it's 6 in the first double round robin, and then you'd play 10 in the second one, because it's 6 teams. And so you'd have 16 there, and then like if you played 2 best of 5s and it went to 5 games in both, you'd have 26 games. Yeah, it could be definitely a grind.
Yeah, or even if you 3-0'd semis and finals,
yeah, you're still
that's still over 20 games.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy, actually, in a 2-week time span.
Yeah.
I would consider. But we can't go there because they're not like, there's not going to be a live audience. They're not accepting people to see the games in person.
I don't think.
Have you ever been to LCS, actually?
I've been to LCS a few times. Yeah, that's pretty fun. But I want to say I don't think that anybody lives in Iceland. So that's why they're going. Nobody could get coronavirus if no one lives there, right?
Dang, I'm pretty jealous, dude. I've never been to LCS. I've always wanted to go.
Yeah, no, LCS is actually pretty fun. I went. I think the first time we went in to see like 2016 TSM. That was hype. That was fun to see them in summer. And then I went again. We went again the next year, and then I went to see like a gauntlet matchup, like between Echo Fox and Clutch Gaming, I think is what it was in 2018. That was something. That was cool. I saw Rick Fox there that time. That was, I was like, holy shit, that's Rick Fox. And there was like a total of like 20 people in the stands because it was Echo Fox Clutch Gaming.
Dang, I've only ever been to one live event, excluding the LANs at our college club.
Yeah,
I went to.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I went to IEM San Jose in 2014, I believe.
Ooh, okay.
So that was the tournament where I think that was the
Flash Bear Slam tournament, wasn't it?
First of all, it was patch 4.2 Weed Warwick or something like that.
Oh.
And then that was the tournament that what is their name? Oh, Unicorns of Love.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
came
yeah.
over and Power of Evil was on there, and they played Jungle TF against TSM, I think,
Yeah, that was
and they rolled over
yeah.
them.
I think
I
I
saw
think
that
that was the same
live.
series, right? They played Jungle TF and then they played Udyr, and that was the Flash Bear Slap like call um was Kikis doing the same thing to Bjergsen just with an Udyr Bear Slap.
Okay, I don't remember that part, but that sounds pretty
Oh, maybe
funny.
it wasn't. Maybe I'm lying about that. Okay, I just googled it. But yeah, no, I remember the Jungle Twisted Fate, dude. Those were fucking nightmares.
Yeah, and then where I was going with this is so that's the only event I've ever been to, and then so there's this interview with the Odd One
Uh-huh.
that takes place at that event. I don't know if he was playing. I don't remember.
I think he was. No, no, season 4 was
I'm not.
Santorin. Never
Yeah,
mind. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
yeah. I think Santorin had just like taken the spot because I think he went to World. Odd One went to Worlds that year.
Hmm.
I think. Maybe I'm just wrong. But anyway, so there's an interview on YouTube of the Odd One at that tournament, and I'm in the background of that video. So if you want to go play Where's Waldo,
Oh
you
shit.
can go try to find that video if it's out there somewhere,
I think I
and
have the link. Okay,
you can
I'll spot you. I'll spot you here for sure.
you could try to spot me
Yeah.
out.
Okay. I won't do this now, but oh wait, actually you're at the very beginning. That's an easy dub, dude. Holy shit.
Wait, it's done already?
Yeah, I mean, like I found the video right away, and then I saw you're in like the first frame of the video. I think maybe that's not
Oh,
you.
let's go then. I'm not sure if I turn around to look at it, but because I think I'm watching the games or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, it's hard to tell. But yeah. Anyway, I found the interview for sure. So that's all we need.
Yeah, I think it was I think my friend sent that to me, and he was like, "Dude, it's you in the
It's
video," and I
you.
was like, "What are you talking about, dude?" And then I opened that shit. I was like, "Let's go!"
You're famous. You're famous.
Yeah, I made it big, dude. Okay, let's finally move into some LCS, starting with week 4. We'll just do a little quick meta brush up of the top 10 champions that were picked or banned in the last weekend. Nothing too special, pretty much same as last time. We've got number 1 Udyr, followed by Olaf, Rel, Azir, Seraphine, Hecarim, Kaisa, Renekton, Tristana, and then 10th place is Senna. You got anything to say about that, dude?
No, I think we've. I mean, it seems up to par with what we've seen already this season. It makes sense. Top 10 presence guys haven't changed too much. Nothing's shaken up.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised to see Tristana in there. I think there was a mid game, and maybe I remember Tactical played at bottom in a
Actually, yeah,
tragic game.
that's true. That was pretty tragic for him.
So pretty surprised to see Tristana slip in the top 10 of all the different champions that could be picked. And I still want to give it a try myself to play it middle.
I still remember our struggles as a collegiate team to deal with the Tristana middle abusers.
Yeah, emphasis on abusers.
Abusers, yeah, that was.
Yeah. And then we'll just jump right from there into the standings. So at first place we've got C9, who went undefeated this week at a nice 3-0. They're 10-2, sole possession of first place by 2 games.
Yeah, they're really leading the
Right
pack.
behind them is Right behind them is TSM and 100 Thieves at 8 and 4 for second and third place. Then also tied is EG, Dignitas, and TL for 7 and 5, and that will round out our top 6, followed by IMT, FlyQuest, CLG, and GGS. I would say that one thing to point out now is I think the top 6 are starting to pull away from the seventh place and onwards, because it used to be that like IMT, FlyQuest, they were just like 1, maybe 2 games behind the 5th and 6th place people. Well, it was 1 game now, but now it's starting to get to be 2 games behind.
Yeah.
6th place for Immortals at least. So it's going to be tough to see if any of those outside teams will be able to squeak in into the playoff spots. But there's only week 5 and week 6 left, and they're going to be playing tougher and tougher teams as the weeks go on. So I'm starting to think that it's not impossible for these 6 teams to be the 6 teams that are going to go into playoffs. It's just the order might switch up a little.
Yeah, I think that is pretty interesting. Geez, when you said it right there, I'm kind of realizing myself that there is only 2 weeks left until playoffs. I didn't even think that.
Yeah, I didn't think that either. Well, at least 2 weeks until the season is over. I'm not sure if they're going to take a week
Oh,
break.
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I hope they don't because, then my life will feel empty and we'll have nothing to talk about.
Hey, I think we managed to fill a decent amount of time before we got to LCS here already in this episode, so maybe
Yeah, I
maybe we
think
will find
we're
things
pretty
to talk
deep.
talk about.
Uh-huh.
But yeah,
But anyways,
I'm kind
oh,
of
go ahead.
actually I'll say real quick on the whether these six will be our our six representing us for the MSI spot. I'm it is surprising how shaky some of these teams have looked like, even like towards the top side of this of the bracket. Like I liked Core JJ had a tweet this weekend, and Core JJ isn't the most serious on Twitter most of the time. But he said in another universe, CLG could be 10-1 and 100 Thieves could be 3-8. And I don't think actually 10-1 and 3-8, but like I get what he's saying, and I feel like we've seen some of these teams like Dig and 100 Thieves and EG. Even I mean, like, I don't know, everybody besides C9, and even C9 I don't think like has deserved to be 10-2 after all their games. Like there's been a lot of losable games for these top six teams that they've pulled out of.
I would agree with you. That definitely every team but C9 is pretty inconsistent, or at least has games where like okay they won, but like maybe they didn't really deserve to win, like or like those kind of games.
Yeah.
But also, Double Lift said something to me personally, only to me,
Okay. Yeah.
during
Tell
his
me.
co-stream over the weekend. He was saying something like the way you should think about the regular split is that it's practice. Even the regular split should be considered like, well, I guess in a weird way, stage time practice, even though it's all online
Mhm.
now.
Right.
But it's just practice for playoffs, and playoffs is what really matters. So it doesn't matter if you don't play perfect during the spring split. It sucks now that your spring split performance carries on over into summer. But the whole point is, as long as you play well enough during the regular season to get into playoffs, the playoffs is what really matters. So get all your mistakes out during the regular split, and then figure out the stuff that figure out the mistakes that you made and brush up on those when playoffs comes, because that's when it really matters. And thank God for double elim last year because they really needed that.
Yeah, that's true. I think that I'll say for double lift, I think that's probably something that he can say as a fortunate player on, top of the table, like LCS winning teams for the last, 5 years. Um, because I think for a lot of teams, if you're not consistently winning, like as somebody like when you're that guy who wins every year, you're like, oh yeah, the LCS like regular season, I can kind of troll around a bit, or we can play a new comp, or we can lose a game. But once playoffs comes around, we'll be fucking fine tuned, right? But I don't think every team is like that. Like if you're a team like 100 Thieves and you're 8-4 in second place, you're still like, as a fan, I would still be like, yeah, but they look shaky in some of these wins. Like they should have lost to CLG, dude. And we all know about CLG right now, right? Like if they're showing this, I don't have trust that they can turn that around. Like that's not a switch that you just get to flip, especially with there's only 2 weeks left of the regular season.
Yeah, I would say 100 Thieves is a good example of a team that they look pretty shaky. I would kind of throw TSM in that lump as well. Like sometimes when they lose, it feels like, oh, really?
Yeah. Even like the TL game when they win, you're
Uh
kind of
huh.
like, oh, really?
Yeah, really? Do you mean the Golden Guardians game from like week two?
Well, I mean that
I think
too.
the
I mean, I'm
yeah
thinking
yeah.
we'll talk about that game. The TSM TL game for this week um, was a banger. I think there's good and bad to come out of that, but we'll hit that.
Well, I'm ready to jump right into that now. So yeah, so that game took place. That game took place last Friday. TSM versus TL, where TSM won last time, and then they won this time as well. Did you want to jump right into something?
I don't know. I'm just thinking like, I mean, this was like kind of a crazy game. I think some of it, just as a general summary, some of it was, you know, uh, TL kind of inting a bit. Tactical kind of threw a lot of their early momentum that they had, and gave TSM an angle to stall for a while. And then I don't think that TSM should have had the late game over this team, but through some scrappy map movement and fights, they pulled it out. Um, But yeah, I don't know. This is one of those games where I think you look at it and you're like, this is either really big brain from TSM to pull it out, or it's just really sloppy and kind of a mess of like late game fighting and macro that nobody has down pat, and then one team pulls out with the dub.
Yeah, I feel that way at some points of this game. I think when I was watching it, I was kind of impressed by the way TSM's map movements were after like past like the 30-minute mark. I think they were making smart decisions about like low key base racing, and then
Hmm.
having Huni use his ulti right away before a fight starts, or TP before the fight starts.
Sure.
I think they
Yep.
were doing pretty smart decisions about that. But yeah, before that 30-minute mark, I feel like it was kind of all over the place, and tactical, he was kind of inting it. Um, as a pro player, I would say that like he was
Yeah.
just kind of disrespecting Syndra in a way.
Hmm.
Uh, and if I was his teammate, I would have been like, "Come on, man, twice in a row." But you know, again, that's like as Doublelift said, like it's times like these when like it really hits you that like this is Tactical's second split in the LCS,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
so like there's gonna be times where like it really shows that like
He doesn't have a full year even. Like he's still kind of a rookie, right? Like
yeah, like low key a rookie.
yeah,
Even like he's definitely promising, and he's around the right people, fortunately.
right.
And but there's gonna be times when like he's just not 100% locked in, or even then, like I think he had said in an interview that he was a little burnt out after playing locked in and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I think it was in a post game interview. I'm not too sure,
Yeah, I
but
do recall that.
yeah, that stuff can happen.
I think I'm with you. This, yeah, I don't know. It was a fun game to watch for sure. Um, yeah, but I think we've kind of hit it. Maybe let's not see Jensen on Seraphine. I feel like he's not the Seraphine player for that roster. Like,
Yeah, I don't picture that he had too much fun on that champion either. Okay, and then we'll talk about our Saturday game of the day for C9 versus EG. And EG won last time, and you said that they were going to do it again, dude. But it was absolutely not like that.
they
And
okay.
C9
They almost had
straight
it.
butt blasted them.
They almost had it. I'm telling you. This I think you're right. This game was really fun to watch. I really like that comp from C9, but it was kind of like I don't know. It was fun to see those kind of comps in pro play where it's like it is really just a a full on wombo combo their ass. Like you're gonna win the fight if you hit all your ultis and you do it together, right? But like there was a point in that mid game where they gave up a couple kills. Jizuke was looking pretty strong. Like maybe they can actually pull it out, and C9, C9 gets a little sloppy, but I think C9's comp was just like in the end, it's just that much easier to, you really only need one fight once you get late enough into the game where you get the ace, you can push the base or take Baron and then do it again. Like it was fun to watch, but I think it wasn't as close as it was just like kind of a draft difference from how it ended up playing.
Yeah, I was pretty over exaggerated with that. I think the game was actually pretty close at some points, and I think composition wise, if it could have gone either way. I'm really glad that Perks ends up playing the Yasuo here, because I feel like when the mid laner can play other champions like this, like outside of Orianna, Azir, Cassiopeia, Syndra, like Zoe, those are like I feel like we see those champions so much out of mid laners, but like when your mid laner can play Yone, Yasuo, Lucian, and that sort of thing, it unlocks more like possibilities for like your compositions. So like just him being able to play Yasuo and be confident to play on in a LCS game, it unlocks like, okay, now it's actually worth it to play Malphite. Now it's worth it to play Gragas in the jungle, and then you compare it with this, and then Kaisa obviously goes well with all that as well. So
Right.
I think that I really like both teams. Like I wouldn't, if that was a solo queue game, I wouldn't hate to play on either of those teams, because I think you can make it work one way or another. But yeah, the C9, I think C9 won the game because they had the tools to like initiate really hard, and
Yeah.
they got off the right ones at the right times where maybe the EG team didn't react fast enough or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've all been there against, some wombo combo compositions. Like you just have to play fights so perfectly as, like if your carries get caught by any one of those and then the enemy team can follow up like all five, then I mean, what are you gonna do? You either don't ever get hit by that stuff, which is incredibly hard, or you do, and then it's over.
Yeah, that's how I feel. And then our final game of the day is going to come from Sunday. That's going to be 100 Thieves versus Cloud9. I think we had both gone with Cloud9 on this one, and they had won last time. I actually didn't watch this game, even though it was our game of the day. But okay, so the thing is that so what I usually do is I don't like to watch LCS live. I kind of wait for it to play out, or at least the games that I care about, and then I'll go watch a VOD of it on either the Twitch VOD of like Double's co-stream, or like or anywhere else that the VOD could be found.
Right.
But I think I was bored at that time, so I tuned in and I saw like portions of this game live, and I saw that the game score was like 1-8 or something like that, and then I watched it for a little bit, and then I was gonna come back to it and watch the whole thing in its entirety. But in a way, like once I knew the result, I didn't really want to watch it anymore.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah, I think I felt kind of the same way. I think I had this on as it came up, and had watched a couple bits. But it was, either I was doing something at the same time and kind of in and out of the room, or I was just playing a different game and wasn't paying attention to it. But yeah, same kind of deal where it was like, oh yeah, C9's kind of just choking them out, and it's not gonna work for 100 Thieves.
yeah, so it turns out that game ends up being pretty one-sided, and so I didn't really want to watch that game. But I was initially excited for it because the last time they played, it was pretty close, but this time it wasn't really that close.
Yeah.
And then that seals out C9's 3-0 undefeated weekend for week 4 of the LCS.
True. And they guarantee, what's important about those kind of games too, as we get closer to the end of the season, that means C9's got the 2-0 tiebreak against 100 Thieves as well, as they head into what could be playoff seeding kind of deals.
Yeah, true. I'm not sure if that will matter. Like that matters if they're tied,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah, true. That's true. C9 is just going to be 16-2, piss chilling at the top of the ladder.
Piss chilling. All right, dude. Were there any other games that popped out to you this weekend from any of the days?
Let me think about it. I need to check real quick because I feel like there were a few fun games. Let's go real quick into CLG won a game. Hello.
Uh-huh.
Um,
They sure did.
they sure did. I think that's that's fun. Beating Dignitas actually is, I think this was the game, one of the games from a day where like I also wasn't watching like as it aired, but they won a game. I mean, what else can you say?
Yeah, that's true, dude. That's definitely one of the ones where like you just kind of write it off, and then later on you go on Reddit, and for some reason that post-match thread has way too many upvotes than it should have, and you're just like, wait a second.
Hold on. What happened
Yeah.
here? No, but that feels good. I'm glad with Pobote back in the lineup, they at least got a dub, Like it would have felt really bad for them if you finally get a role swap, you got your full roster you wanted at the beginning of this of the split, at the beginning of lock in, and then you just come out in 0-3 on your face again. You're like, all right, never mind. We suck.
Yeah, I'm glad they got to finish out the weekend too, so
Yeah.
they can they can go into the next weekend going feeling pretty good about themselves.
Yeah.
Let's see if they can do 6-0 for week 5 and week 6,
Whew.
dude.
Whew. It might put them in playoffs. We'll see. Tune in next week.
Probably not. Okay, let's jump into our predictions for week 5 of the LCS. We're just going to do another one game from each day again. And so for Friday, we were looking at TSM versus Dignitas. That's going to be like second versus third place, I guess, technically, the way that they're all tied and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Last time Dignitas had won this one, and TSM had just lost the game on Sunday. Dignitas lost as well. So both of these teams are coming off from a loss on Sunday, and they're going to play on Friday. Who do you think is going to take this one?
Dude, based on recent performance, I'm thinking it's TSM this time. I don't remember if I made a call one way or the other the first time they played. But if I did, I probably would have picked TSM. I probably would have been wrong. So I don't know. This time seems like Dig is kind of, I don't know. They were honeymooning a bit at the beginning of the season. At least this past week, they go 1-2. They lose to CLG of all people, and then. Yeah, I don't know. Now you're up against a TSM who, I mean, they also coming off a loss like you said, but they've looked really good the last couple of weeks when they have been winning, I think. So I think they've got the edge for me.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I actually really liked the way that TSM played this past week. I liked the way Huni was playing Jace for Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, those Jace games were actually hype.
And then I feel like we also got to see a bit of shaky Dignitas this past weekend as well. When I think about their game versus 100 Thieves, that was kind of a weird game.
Hmm.
And so, but in a weird way, I feel like I'm going to go with TSM, but I think the odds are still like some weird number of like 60-40 or something like that. Where
Yeah,
honestly, like 40% is not a bad chance.
it's like if you're sorry if I'm going to throw in betting terms here. It's like it's TSM favored, but you're calling to bet on the money line for Dig. Like that's what you're saying here, right?
I'm lost. I have no idea what
Okay,
you're saying.
okay, don't worry about it. There's value
Yeah,
in the Dig pick. There's value in the Dig pick.
yeah. I think it's possible they could do it. I'm just gonna go with TSM here.
Yeah,
Based on last week's play.
yeah, I
And then
agree.
for Saturday, we were looking at C9 versus TL, where last time TL had won, interestingly, and gave C9 one of their only 2 losses in the split. I think this is going to be an interesting matchup for this week, and it's pretty tough because I think for this weekend, both C9 and TL have tough matchups, and this is just going to be one of them from this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is really, like you said, an important, or I guess I don't know if you said that. I think this is an important matchup probably for both teams. I think TL is, I don't know, they've kind of been shaky. You know, they still look pretty good, but they haven't been able to find wins that you, as a fan, like feel like they should have. And I don't know, the fact that they're sitting at 7-5 is, you know, honestly pretty weird for this team that, you know, did look pretty good and like really dominant last season too, and has kept a lot of their roster and only upgraded in, you know, places where they had, you know, other players before. So I'm surprised to see TL there, but like you said, they won the first matchup against C9. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if C9 is just like kind of mental blocked against these guys. If it's just a good matchup, like that all the players can go toe to toe against each other, like against their lane counterparts and stuff like that. We'll see. It'll be fun. Hopefully.
Yeah, that'd be pretty crazy to think that like if TL wins again, then that means that like they've beaten them ever since lock-ins. If
Right.
you think about it in a weird way like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this match is pretty important even in terms of like the overall standings, because if they were to lose this game, that makes it so that C9 is only 1 game ahead of second and third place.
Mm,
Depending on how Friday's games go with 100 Thieves and TSM. But
right.
yeah, I think this game could have implications on standings if C9 doesn't win it. But I think if C9 does win this, then they're looking pretty solid to keep first place.
Yeah, I think that's true. Especially if we head on to the next day where we're looking at TSM versus C9. Uh, if that's the case, like you said, you know, if C9 loses their game on Saturday, TSM has won their game on Friday, then they go into this matchup, and you could be they could be just 1 game apart from each other, and then if TSM takes the dub, that's a tie for first place.
Yeah, if that very well could happen, dude. But I'm going to cut you off there. I'm going to say for Saturday's game versus TL,
Uh
I'm going to call C9 for that one. And then I'm also going to call C9 again for the Sunday game of
huh.
TSM versus C9.
Ooh.
Who are you going to go with, dude?
Damn, that's tough. Actually, like what my heart wants to say, I want TL to win the game on Saturday. And not even just as like I'm a dirty TSM fan that wants TSM to have a shot at first place, but like I feel like I'm a dirty Core JJ fan who wants to see Core JJ win everything. So
Uh-huh.
I think that like I want to see TL win on Saturday. You know, that's my my pundit analysis is going to be that TL is like they're all like just as good of players as the ones we're seeing on C9. Probably edge to like Blabber in the jungle and edge to Alfari in the top lane as my like 2 standout um, like differences. But if they balance each other out or so, then you've got like a pretty even matchup across the board. And then it's just up to whether C9 decides to go like too insane on the day and TL can capitalize on their mistakes. But then Sunday, I don't know. I want to say TSM just because I want TSM to win, but I think C9 probably has the edge on them unless they like continue their course of leveling up like we've seen in the past few weeks.
Yeah, I think I pretty much agree with you. If anyone is going to beat C9, I think it's going to be TL.
Yeah, it just seems like a
So
good.
like,
Yeah, it seems like a good matchup stylistically. Yeah.
I want them to win as well. Yeah, because I want them to win because that means that they must have played really well in that game
Yeah.
if TL do win. So I want them to win, but I'm gonna call it C9 for both of those games. And I'm not sure because I don't, in my brain for some reason I still think TL is more consistent than TSM, even though the standings don't show up that way. And TSM has gotten a lot better after week 2.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're strong enough to tackle C9 with the way that C9's been playing for the last 2 weeks. So I guess we'll see in this rematch.
Yeah, I kind of feel there's this weird thing for me between like TL and TSM, where it seems like you said, TL's pretty consistent. But like when they lose games, it feels like a little closer. Like maybe they just did like one or two, like the game against TSM, right? Like that's a really close game to lose. Like they could have won it easily.
Right.
But then when TSM plays, it seems like they're either like taking the whole entire map by the balls and just like just shutting out the other team, or they're doing some weird stupid shit, and it's like you lose back to back smite fights at Dragon and Baron kind of thing, and then lose the game, or like the beginning of this split looked like really sloppy, right? Like they've got like almost higher highs and lower lows, whereas TL has looked like this pretty consistent team, but when they've had dips, it's just been at the wrong time where the team they're playing against is on a high. So I see where you're coming from with that. That I'd see TL kind of as the more favored.
Yeah, I would agree for sure. Okay, so we're going to try something a little different this time, and sometimes we talk about content on our show, and we're just going to move that to the end here to round out the episode. So there was a couple of videos and I guess content that I looked through this week. First one was like a FAQ video that Devilif put out, pretty much just saying that like why he retired, why he's not going to coach, why he doesn't want to play anymore. That's pretty much it. I don't know if you want to say anything on that.
Yeah, I haven't watched this video yet myself. So if you got any bits from it that you want to cover, I'm down to chat about it real quick, but I don't have any individual insight just because I haven't seen it.
No, not really. I would say at least like if you're about to get in the game, just like throw it on in the background. It's worth like a slight listen to. Because he's the boy. May as well.
True.
Another one is going to be like Travis Scafford's interview with Poe Belter, where he asks them like, okay, why is it that you really got benched? And honestly, that's kind of it. Nothing really special.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even anything spicy.
Pope's the boy though, so yeah, same deal.
Moving on, I was pretty excited about the Four Horsemen episode with Monte Cristo, Doran, and Richard Lewis because I actually really like watching all of their content, League of Legends related or not. I'm pretty interested in what they have to say a lot of the time, just because of all of their knowledge within like esports industry as a whole, and also their experience with other games. This thing was like 3 hours long, so I actually did have to like download the audio and like listen to it away from my computer to finish it out.
Damn.
But nothing too crazy that I remember listening to this. Just like a few couple like spicy bits of like behind the scenes team operation and like their opinions on the whole Jack and Regi kind of drama that happened over social media. It's just like reactions to it, I suppose, and just a little bit of talk about the import rule. Nothing too crazy that I can remember though.
Was it all 3 hours about League of Legends? I know those guys kind of cover a lot of different things, so I'm not sure.
For the most part, yeah, I would say it was about League of Legends and the import rule and whether or not they should do it or if there even needs to be a change. And
right.
They had I think they had a guy from Golden Guardians named Dane in there.
Okay.
And so he was pretty involved with that episode as well, to give a bit of a perspective on like the team side of why would even want that. And like it is pretty nice because like knowledgeable people who have like tried to have a team or like they just know a lot of connections in the scene.
Yeah.
Like the people on this episode, like they can see they get why the owners don't want the import rule,
right?
Kind of like how I was talking about last episode, but like they just think it's silly the way that they do want it
Right.
in that sort of way.
Yeah.
And then another one that I saw was Travis Gafford's interview with Vulcan, where he got to ask him like, "Yo, what was that whole thing with like the Twitter and Reginald?" So that was pretty funny. And then like you got to really like think about how crazy it would have been if Vulcan didn't go to C9 or something like that after he had gone to Worlds with Clutch Gaming.
Yeah.
And all the people who must have wanted him after that.
Yeah.
Or even before that, because I think he had gone from Scouting Grounds to Clutch Gaming, and then like maybe people might have wanted them even sooner, including TSM, and we could have had like Sven and Vulcan on TSM while Sven was still there.
Whew. Imagine.
So yeah, so that could have been crazy. But other than that, I guess nothing really too spicy from that as well. And then today, I actually watched the Crackdown with Revenge, which is like a couple days old now. But that one was really interesting to hear his story about like going from rank 1 to college to academy and that sort of thing, and hearing his journey and what it. I really like this episode because it was like it really gave me perspective of like what it's like to be a pro player and to go through the system as it is.
Yeah, like
in like recent years,
like from the bottom, really, like out of solo queue onto an academy team, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then I guess the last thing that we can kind of sign off with on this episode is going to be Reginald's really long Medium post. Which, by the way, on a side note, so his name on Medium is tsmandy.medium.com or whatever. And I had like clicked on it and seen that. So when I was trying to find this article again, I Googled TSM Andy, and let me tell you, do not do that. You have been warned.
Okay, I mean, I'm doing it right now, right? But like, wait, why shouldn't I do it?
Anyways, so yeah, so Reginald, pretty much wrote this long Medium piece after apologizing to Vulcan for like a weird like comment that he made on Twitter, which wasn't too crazy, but whatever. But honestly, not really a lot of like new things said in this Medium post. I just wanted to go in there and talk about like I guess what's holding NA back as a region is like the ping and the player base. Like, do you have anything to say on that kind of stuff?
Nah, I mean, I think this post that he wrote was yeah, it was something definitely worth reading if you've been following the import rule like discussion and that kind of stuff, because I think he did try and clarify what he was saying, at least with like the tweet at Vulcan and stuff, even though it was kind of a cop out response. But
I think so too.
yeah, but I don't know. I'm not. I think there's definitely points in there. Like, it makes sense. Like having a much smaller player base, I think ping is like not as much of an issue. Like obviously it kind of sucks, but I don't think that these guys like they scrim and they can do in-houses. Like I feel like, but the majority of the games are scrims, right? And that's already on low ping, so I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think there are other issues with what holds back NA probably, but I don't know that we need to get into all that again. We talked a bit about it last week, so I'll leave it there unless you want to say anything else.
True. Actually, I would fight you on the ping thing. I would say that it matters that not 90 to 100% of pro players' games are played on low ping, because again, like after having heard like the Crackdown episode with Revenge, like I guess when you consider that like a lot of the like you get a lot of scrim practice, yes, on Tournament Realm.
Yeah.
But then a lot of your other practice that like you might want to do is just gonna be in solo queue, and like in a way, if the solo queue training environment is different, as in like 5 times higher ping than the LCS game, then that kind of sucks that like to practice a champion or to practice a matchup, you end up having to like play in this weird environment where like you have to learn different muscle memory and have different expectations of the game in terms of like cast time and that sort of thing and reaction. So
yeah, I think what my thoughts on that are, and this is maybe like kind of weird. I've kind of tried to think about a lot of stuff with League like that you could do, because I think in general, like the fact that like how pros practice is by playing like real scrim games and then going out and playing like real pickup games basically of League, right? Like that seems
right.
wild to me in its own. And I think like you shouldn't like playing 3 or 4 games of solo queue after scrims to practice matchups or whatever, like is already like fucked up enough of a practice environment that I don't think ping matters too much. Like I think there's arguments for like when you get to like a whole player base like wide thing, maybe having one server for NA that, means part of the country is like kind of zoned out. Like, you already have less players. That means your tip top of solo queue is maybe worse, so that when you do go play those games, it's harder to have like primo games. But there's ways I feel like as pros and as pro teams should like give you ways to practice that you can just like if you want to practice a matchup, you have an academy top laner, right? Or you have like even if it's just somebody else on your team, like if you want like mid and top should go 1v1 on these different champs and practice matchups or practice interactions. Like Core JJ doing the shit with Nautosuk and Leona E or like and Thresh hooks and shit like that. Like he does that with his teammates in 1v1s. You don't need to do that in solo queue to practice that, right? Like I feel like there's other ways around that than just like obviously solo queue should be better, but you can't like that's definitely not the last step for like making NA competitive or something.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty in agreement with you. It is kind of crazy to think that like a basketball player would want to go to the park or the gym after like team practice and then like shoot some hoops or something
Right,
like that.
and then not
as,
only
like, additional practice.
yeah, shoot some hoops with like some random dudes that are there at the park, and then maybe also like somebody from another team that like decided they also want to show up. Like that's kind of nuts, right?
Yeah. I would just say that like just another thing to consider that like the players that are gonna be on the up and up for like the future is they want to play solo queue because that's what they know and that's how they got here. And so
Yeah, I get
when they're
that.
gonna want to practice, they're gonna want to play solo queue, and
I think
it's baby steps.
somebody talked about that though too. I think it was maybe Alarum, but like even like Vulcan, like those are guys. They're guys like from the East Coast that are or like Northern Canada or like Eastern Canada shit, where like they're like they grew up on solo queue, right? But like they were close to it, so that's like better for them, right? When you're obviously in the like solo queue environment, then you want solo queue to be the best they can be, and like putting it in Chicago is better for the majority of NA players, right? Just not pro players, which is why it is weird for them here in LA.
Yeah, I don't have any creative solutions either, but as a Californian, I hope that they do something about it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay, man, we had some really good conversations this episode, but I'm going to call it there. That's going to be it for episode 5 of On the Hunt, a League of Legends podcast. I hope you all enjoyed it, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast on the service that you are listening to us on if you haven't already. And we'd also appreciate it if you would also give us a rating or hit the like button to show us some support as well. You can find us on YouTube as well as your podcast player of choice, from Apple Podcasts to Spotify and so forth. We'll see you all next week for another episode of On the Hunt.
Thanks everyone for listening.